Today we're going to solve absolute value equations. An absolute value is the distance from 0. If I look at a number line, I have absolute value of x is equal to 2. What that means is that I can go to the positive 2 or I can go to the negative 2. So we don't know if that x was a positive 2 or a negative 2. Whenever I have an absolute value, whatever number is inside always comes out positive. Absolute value of positive 2 equals positive 2. Absolute value of negative 2 also equals positive 2. Whatever goes in comes out positive. We will cover inequalities in the next video. Steps for solving absolute value equations. When solving for a variable that is inside an absolute value, you must solve for both positive and negative variations, meaning you're going to have two answers. Here are the steps. First, get the absolute value all by itself. Simply pretend that the absolute value symbol is a variable and solve for it. Then you take away the absolute value signs and make two equations, one positive and one negative. Solve both equations. Step 1. Get the absolute value by itself. I'm going to pretend that this entire absolute value symbol is one large variable, which means I need to solve it. We do the opposite whenever we're solving. The opposite of subtracting 2 is to add 2. So I add 2 to both sides. That gives me 3. Absolute value of x plus 7 is equal to 24. Next, I need to get rid of the 3. It's being multiplied. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. I divide both sides by 3. The 3's cancel. Step 1 is finished. Now I do step 2. Take away the absolute value signs and make two separate equations. I'm going to have a positive version and I'm going to have a negative version. We have x plus 7 equals positive 8, x plus 7 equals negative 8. We solve both equations. I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides, which gives me x is equal to 1 and x is equal to negative 15. Here we have two more problems. These are a little different. If I'm going to get the absolute value by itself, I need to get rid of the negative 8. Add 8 to both sides. Cancels out. 0 equals the absolute value of x plus 2. Now, there is no positive and negative 0. So this is an exception to the rule. I'm only going to have one problem. 0 is equal to x plus 2, which gives you x is equal to negative 2. I only have one answer because 0 cannot be positive or negative. Moving on. I get rid of the 3. Subtract 3 to the other side. That cancels out. Now the absolute value of x plus 4 is equal to negative 3. Now the next step would be to create two equations. However, can an absolute value ever equal a negative? And the answer is no, it can't. We're finished right here. We isolate the absolute value, it equals negative. No solution. Here's another seemingly simple problem. I'm going to subtract the 3 to the other side, which gives me negative. Absolute value of x plus 2 is equal to negative 2. Now, after the last problem, you might be thinking, oh, it's negative, I'm done. Not true. If you notice, there is a negative in front. I need to isolate my absolute value. It's not isolated, so I need to divide both sides by a negative 1. Negatives will cancel. Negatives will cancel. Now I have the absolute value of x plus 2 is equal to 2. At this point, I separate the problem into a positive version and a negative version. Then I solve for both. Subtract 2 to the other side. Subtract 2 to the other side. That gives me x is equal to, the 2's cancel out, 2 take away 2 is 0. Or x equals -4. Here we have some more vocabulary. An extraneous solution is an answer that is not a valid solution to the problem. Basically, it's an answer that you get that's false. After solving an equation, you need to substitute the number back into the function to see if the solutions work. For this problem, I have the absolute value already isolated. That's how they gave it to us. So instantly, I can separate this into the positive and the negative. We're going to separate one over here and one right here. On the left-hand side, we'll do the positive. X minus 2 is equal to 4x plus 10. On the right-hand side, we'll write the negative. X minus 2 is equal to negative. Now there's a whole bunch of stuff over there, so I need to use parentheses. 4x plus 10. Let's solve the positive one first. I need all the x's on one side. I subtract x from both sides. At the same time, I need the 10 to move to the other side. Subtract 10 from both sides. X cancels. 10 cancels. Negative 12 is equal to 3x. Divide both sides by 3. X is equal to -4. Write it properly. X is equal to -4. On the negative side, first thing I have to do is distribute that negative sign. Now I go along the same route. I'm going to move the -4x to the left in order to keep my x's positive, which means I need to move the -2 to the right. Negatives 2 cancels. Positive and -4 cancels. 5x is equal to -8. Divide both sides by 5. X is equal to -8/5. Now I need to check for extraneous solutions. What I do is I take those answers and I plug them back into the original equation. Absolute value. -4 minus 2 is equal to 4 times -4 plus 10. Wherever I had an x, I wrote what x equals, the -4. Now I solve. Absolute value of -6 is equal to -16 plus 10. -16 plus 10 is -6. Absolute value of -6 is a positive 6. These do not equal each other. That means this is an extraneous solution, and we will not list it in our solutions unless asked specifically for extraneous values. Now we do it again on the right. Substitute in -8/5 for x. Of course, they had to give us a fraction to make it difficult, but we can handle it. On the left-hand side, I have a common denominator of 5. That means the 2 is over an invisible 1, and I need to multiply the top and the bottom by 5 times 5 times 5. To put this as a side problem for those of you that are struggling with fractions, that gives us -8/5 minus 2 times 5 is 10/5. -8 and -10 gives me -18/5. On the right-hand side, I have a similar problem. I have 4 times -8 gives me -32/5 plus 10. In order to get a common denominator, I need to multiply the right-hand side. Denominator times 5. What I do at the bottom, I do the top. Again, with my side problem, -32/5 plus 10 times 5 is 50/5. 50 take away 32 is a positive 18/5. And so that's what I write. The absolute value always comes out positive, which means 18/5 is equal to 18/5. This is a true statement, and my one and only answer will be x is equal to -8/5.